Hey, Lee, I know the listeners noticed, and I sure have noticed. What's up with this new announcer guy?
Oh, you mean Funkmaster B?
Yeah, dude, and like he's moving into the studio? What the hell's going on?
Well, I mean, it's a long story, but why don't we let him tell us about it? Funkmaster B, lay some of that funky music on us.
You are listening to the Beyond Terrestrial Podcast, your one-stop shop for the outstanding, the unconventional, and the downright strange. Strap in because the boys are about to take a wild ride. I'm Funkmaster B, setting up that tea for the duo of Gumfoolery. Your hosts, Dan and Lee.
Of course I believe in aliens. I mean, in an infinitely growing universe, why would we be the only living species? Bigfoot, Nessie, all that stuff, it's gotta be real. How are we to say that we're the only ones? It's just ignorant. I think aliens are not only from other planets, but they're time travelers.
Welcome back to the Beyond Terrestrial Podcast, your home for the strange, the macabre, the conspiratorial, and all things supernatural. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Mr. Dan Martson, coming to you just down from the crossroads where Robert Johnson made his infamous deal with the devil. And with me, as always, one of Beyond Terrestrial's founding fathers, Mr. Lee Arrett. Lee.
Hi guys, I am back again, still coming to you from the Bell Witch's backyard inside the Haunted Barn Studios. And Dan, I hear we have an interview today. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, Lee, so when I came up to visit you and we kicked off the third season of Beyond Terrestrial, we did a sweet roundtable with the guys from Real Politik, which is a cool name for a show. We did it on the Men in Black. Here come the Men in Black. Do the moves, Lee. I know you know. Okay, that's it. We can't do any more. Copyright law. But Lee has got all the moves down to this song. But we talked about the real Men in Black, not the Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones Men in Black, even though that's cool. We talked about the real Men in Black. We went back to the history of it, back to the 40s, all the way up through the 50s UFO craze. We had international stories all the way up to today. So it's a great roundtable. You guys are going to love it. It's coming up. But first, we've got a little interview we have to do with a new member of the Beyond Terrestrial family. Lee, our family's growing. We've got an expanding family. It's beautiful.
Yes, much like the DC Extended Universe, except a little bit better. Not quite as good as Marvel, but better than DC. We have new characters in our library.
Yes.
We have picked up a beautiful voiced young man, or should I say funky man, Mr. Funkmaster B. Funkmaster B.
Is it Mr. Funkmaster B or just Funkmaster B? I don't know how to properly address a Funkmaster.
So he is a Funkmaster. Some of us would like to call him Sensei. But he said, okay. You know what? Just call me Funky. Funkmaster B,
cool.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised on the streets of Newark, New Jersey, Chocolate City. But through a series of unfortunate events, I ended up in Des Moines, Iowa. But you know what they say, when life gives you lemons, you make funky lemonade. I became the #1 funk DJ in all of Iowa. Hell, I was the only funk DJ in Iowa back then.
Sounds like you had it all, man.
You dig? I was doing good. I had money, foxy ladies, and all the funky grooves I could take. But through another series of unfortunate events, I ended up on the road. I ended up outside a truck stop here in Clarksville. But try as I might, no one was feeling this Funkmaster's groove. What's a funk grandmaster to do with no groove?
Damn, that's some sad shit, B.
The foxy ladies left me, the money ran out, and I ended up living on the outs. But the groove keeps grooving, baby. That's when my boy Lee found me and set me up in this creepy-ass studio.
Well, Funkmaster, Funky, Funkmaster B, Mr. B, Master B, Sensei B, I'm not quite sure what to call you, but I'm using really ninja hand karate chops because it feels right. I've been watching some Cobra Kai. We're glad to have you as part of our family, and we're glad that our listeners get to hear that soothing, beautiful voice coming over their earwaves, filling their ear holes.
Very nicely. Don't be a jive turkey, Lee. Let the funk master groove, man. Let him do his thing.
Shit, I'm just here until I find me a sweet, fine, foxy sugar mama. One just as freaky as old Funkmaster B is funky. You dig?
Dude, I love it. You know what? I hope it works out. I hope he enjoys the studio. I know there's some spiders that live in there, but I mean, otherwise, it'll be good company around the place, Lee.
Yeah, you know what? He's great to have already. He's brought me a couple beers. That's been pretty good. I don't know where he got them, but they're okay.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. They were already open, and I'm not 100% sure why, but yeah. So there you go.
Funky, man. I love it. I love that funky music. I love the new intro. He's a great announcer. I think he's a great addition to the team. I'm sure there won't be any problems with him going forward. We have a roundtable coming up with Paul and John from Real Politik. It's an awesome show that dives into some conspiracies sometimes, the downfall of modern culture, all that good stuff that's going on today, the hot topics of today. And I listened to the QAnon show, Lee. I love that stuff. You know I'm a sucker for QAnon.
Oh, yeah. I love QAnon, too. But you, my friend, you love it. I know you love it. It's like pizza. It's like cheese pizza.
Yeah, because it's so batshit. I just soak it up. I love it. The crazier it gets, the better. So, and these guys are going into the deep dark corners to figure out what's going on in today's culture. Really breaking it down in politics, news, conspiracies, just the intersection of all this crazy stuff that we're seeing today. And that's where their show is, and it's a funky spot. So good for them. The stories that they brought are killer. I loved them. I had not heard a couple of them, so that was really fun. And I don't know what else to say, Lee. You got anything else?
No, just that it was an amazing roundtable discussion. They're going to be putting it out on their show's feed as well, so check it out on Real Politik. They may have some intro stuff that we don't have. They may have a take on us, and they may say we were idiots, but at least we had a fun conversation with the guys. So,
yeah, I mean, well, they wouldn't be wrong. So let's jump into the roundtable. Welcome to the Beyond Politik Roundtable. The topic today is the Men in Black. And we're going to go around and start off with introductions. Lee, let's go around the horn. Start us off.
Well, hi, guys. My name is Lee. I'm one half of the hosting duo from Beyond Terrestrial Podcast. And I'm here to be the peanut butter to Dan's jelly. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Hey, there
I'm glad to be here.
All right, Paul.
I am Paul Holden, producer extraordinaire for Real Politik, holding down the fort. Yeah, happy to be here. Glad to be here with you guys, and excited to dig into the MIB. It's going to be great.
John, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Real Politik.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Paul might be better off answering that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We are a conspiracy and politics podcast. So, covering all the great topics of the deterioration of society. So things like, CIA-backed coups, Epstein's Black Book, all the way to World War III. So really lighthearted show, upbeat, fun to listen to. So definitely check us out.
Yeah, so I'm this is John Barber, as Paul Holden likes to pronounce it. I'm 1/3 of the trio of Real Politik. We're missing our third leg there, our third wheel, really, if you ask me.
Yeah, but he's in his deep underground military bunker right now, and the Ethernet cable got cut.
Yes.
Yeah, so we do all sorts of political commentary, including this week we were doing live commentary to the Democratic National Convention, which was pretty fun. I like to think of myself as the color commentator, whereas Paul is more serious. He has the actual facts, but we all know that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a lie.
That is true. This day and
I just
age.
have to do all the work, and then they just shit talk me the whole time. So.
See, I got lucky. See, I'm the producer, or I was the producer, and Dan did all the work. It was great.
That's a way better scenario. I need to get on that hype.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'm Dan Martson. I'm one half of the hosting duo of Beyond Terrestrial. And a little bit about me. There's really nothing special about me, except I was on Jeopardy one time and won. Woo! Okay, whatever.
No way. That's cool.
Yeah, that was it. That's the only thing special about me. But now I'm podcasting with Lee, and we do a show on conspiracies, weird stuff, the macabre, aliens, UFOs, interdimensional Bigfoot, that kind of shit.
All the good stuff, man. Yeah, I've been listening quite a bit, so it's really good. So check it out if you haven't listened before.
Oh, thank you. I actually listened to your special on QAnon because I'm a sucker for Q conspiracies. Not that I believe them, I just love the story.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. That was a fun one. That was while I had COVID and I was just going down the rabbit hole because I couldn't leave my house.
Yeah, Lee's got some Corona horror stories.
Oh my gosh.
He can share with us.
Oh my gosh.
But we'll swap virus war stories later. The subject today is the Men in Black, and not Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, or that other movie that was really bad. Who was in that one? Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys. Those people. Yeah. No, we're talking about real.
It's not about Men in Black 1, not about Men in Black 3, but it's actually about Men in Black 2, the classic, the good one.
Right, we're going to do a whole show on that. We're going to do a whole show on government agencies and their intersection with UFO encounters. And Lee is going to take us back to our first story, to the 1940s and the start of this whole deal. Lee, kick us off.
All right, everybody. So picture this. It's June 21st, 1941. Cars have fins and other things. Mr.
But not seatbelts.
I got it.
Fins, but not seatbelts.
I got it right in my head. I'm seeing it.
Fred Chrisman and Harold Dahl claimed to have been working as harbor patrolmen in Washington's Puget Sound near Murray Island. More likely, they were salvaging lumber or timber from some of the local sawmills. Salvaging is a word there. I'm not sure. I'm wondering if salvaging was more... salvage was their choice of words. They claim to have witnessed 6 donut-shaped objects in the sky, one seemingly in distress. The damaged one dropped a hot molten metal-like substance on the deck of Dahl's boat. The falling debris injured Dahl's son as well as killed his dog. Dahl presented some of this debris to a Mr. Kenneth Arnold. Kenneth Arnold had actually gained notoriety earlier that year for his mid-air sighting over the Cascade Mountains. He was actually the one that, he's credited with coining the term flying saucer. He, in actuality, said they were skipping like saucers on water, and the press turned it into flying saucer, because that's what they do. And Ray Palmer, a magazine publisher from the area as well. Arnold and Palmer, I had to say it that way because it felt important. Arnold Palmer got the government involved. 2 Army specialists interviewed Chrisman and Dahl and took the alleged evidence from them for further investigation. During this investigation, Dahl claimed to have men in black suits making threats for him to keep quiet, as well as damaging, or as he put it, blurring photos. Wow, that name drop for one of my favorite show podcasts. Blurring photos, evidence that he had taken at the site. Unfortunately, these 2 Army officials never made it home. The B-52 they were on crashed en route from Tacoma to San Francisco, along with the evidence. At this point, the FBI step in. The FBI are real quick at this. Like they turn around and they get these guys to confess that they made this whole story up. They fabricated the whole thing. The evidence was just scrap they found on the beach. It's even speculated that the 2 Army officials knew that it was just plain old aluminum. And the part of me, like, and just felt bad. Like, they said that they've just felt bad for Dahl, so they didn't want to insult him, so they just took it to, like, keep it a secret from him or something. I don't know. I'm going to be real. Like, Army officials, I don't think they would care about the guy's feelings. If they thought it was just regular aluminum from first sight, they're going to be like, okay, it's just aluminum. Right? Like,
let's not embarrass him, okay? Let's be nice.
Yeah. Men in black are people too, and sometimes at least
we all feel.
We all feel. So they took the evidence, right? Their plane crashes. Immediately, the press jumps on it and says that it was that the plane was sabotaged. The FBI jump in and get these guys to say that they fabricated all of this. The whole story was just bunkum. And then the plane is promptly found to have had an engine fire and had not been sabotaged at all, like it was initially believed. Once again, there are some holes for me in this. I'm not the kind of guy that jumps on conspiracy theories. I love them. I love to hear them. But to me, I don't see why the 2 government officials took the evidence if they believed it was just crap. But I also wonder, I've seen Making a Murderer. I've seen it. I wonder if the FBI may have pressured them into dropping the whole thing. Because there was rumor floated around, and I don't have this in my notes, but I'm looking at them like I do. There was rumor floated around that they were threatened that they would go to prison for falsifying evidence, and if they just confessed, they would be spared the prison sentence for killing those 2 officers. I had air quotes, guys. I'm sorry. I know this is a audio medium. My bad. For killing those 2 officers, even though they weren't involved in killing the 2 officers in any way. So I don't know. For me, it is the OG. It's the very first talk of Men in Black. These Men in Black are only listed as people that came after the crash or after the sighting and destroyed evidence and threatened the one of the witnesses to not tell his story. And then two Army officials get involved later. It's just, to me, it's just a crazy story. A dog dies. Never like it when a dog dies. Kid gets his arm hurt. There's also, on one of my sources, it showed that that the evidence that was recovered from the crash site was believed to potentially be regular, like, igneous rock and or pieces of a meteorite. Now, maybe most of the story is bunkum and his dog got hit by a meteor while the kid was petting it. Oh, okay. That's incredibly unfortunate circumstances, but
Yeah,
That would be the most unlucky kid on the planet.
Yeah, equally
So
interesting. Yeah.
Can you imagine,
the dog
Old Yeller?
was killed supposedly by the molten, quote unquote, aluminum or whatever the molten material was?
so they said it was molten slag-like or metal-like substance.
Okay.
The Army officers allegedly believed it was regular old aluminum. What they claim to be the current evidence points more towards like an igneous rock.
So an igneous rock, though, could be like if it were a molten stone at the time, if it were molten material, that would result in an igneous rock after it cooled.
That's true. And that would be believable. Like if it was a rock falling from space, I'm sure it'd get pretty hot. So
They tend to. What I like about this one, first of all, it's tragic. There's not always a lot of dog stories in these UFO stories, but this is also such a quintessential example of like just some run of the mill country bumpkin kind of guys who encounter something way over their heads, extraterrestrially or governmentally. Like these guys who are just out there like salvaging or like taking apart an old dock or whatever it is that they're doing, and they just get mixed up in all this big mess.
yeah, I'm thinking they were stealing logs from the local sawmills. Is what I think they were
like
doing.
They were stealing things when this happened.
They were lumber rustling out there in the water. But I like it too. I like the style because it's the 40s. The suits, like that's the sort of thing when you think of G-men coming around to cover up a sighting. This is right where I go to.
Well, and think how scary those guys must have been back then too. Like you're just a small town dude hanging out, and then government officials show up and are interrogating you. Like I'd be terrified. I'm scared of the FBI. I don't want to deal with them. I'm pretty sure they got me wiretapped by now, but I just don't want to deal with them.
They all do. I've got an Alexa.
Yep, there you go. Who's listening?
Yeah. Well, and then, of course, he got Ray Palmer involved. Ray Palmer was a magazine publisher, sci-fi stuff. Once this idea gets out into the zeitgeist of flying saucer people, they take off with it. And I think, Paul, you've got a story about them really taking off with it.
Oh, I got a beautiful one. It's about a gentleman named Albert Bender. From Doria, Pennsylvania, originally born in 1921. It sounds strangely like diarrhea. That's my adultness coming out in me. But he served in the U.S. Army during World War II as a dental technician because the Army needs dentists too. After he was discharged, he moved to Bridgeport, Connecticut, moving in with his mom Ellen and his stepfather. So he was living in the attic of his stepfather's house, which is, I don't think, where anyone wants to be, and working as a timekeeper at Acme Shear Co., which was the largest manufacturer of scissors at the time. So good for him. Making plays. And
I like that it's Acme.
Acme. You got to have the Acme.
Like the Looney Tunes.
This is very classic.
Dropping a lot of anvils on the heads of MIB. So he started to become a bit of a strange character. So he would fill his little bedroom upstairs with clocks. So he had about 30 chiming clocks that would go off every 15 minutes, driving his parents completely insane. And he started filling the room with fake skulls, shrunken heads, and his own original grim artwork, and called his room the Chamber of Horrors. And this was when he was in his late 20s. So interesting play by him. And every time someone would visit, he would
Wait, how is this guy single is my question.
I didn't get to his Playboy part of his life, but every time someone would come to his room, he would play creepy sounds from his recorder. So they would think he was putting on, like an Elvis track, and it would be people screaming with creepy canyon sounds in the background. And that was how he wooed the ladies.
Good Lord.
Yes.
I know. Every time I put my Sounds of Halloween on, my girlfriend gets excited.
Oh yeah. That's how I got my current girlfriend. She came over and it was just a video of people screaming on the TV, and she's like, "This guy, he's cool."
Hey, different strokes for different folks. That's all I got to say.
It's so true.
So, but we can't say the things that we normally say on our podcast.
That is correct.
So I couldn't say something like beep,
And
like that.
I definitely couldn't say beep, 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 and beep.
I am not doing this bit.
Too late.
He's too deep in. Anyway, this is Alex Austin from Ronan Geek Official Podcast. And in the room with me today, I have...
Plebeian Pirate Adam.
And
just Rob.
And just Rob. And we are here to advertise Ronan Geek Official Podcast. We are a geek news and comedy podcast direct out of Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So if you want some Canadian flavor on your geek comedy news, make sure to give us a listen each week for gaming, movies, and TV. We'll give you some reviews. We'll give you some spoilers. And we'll give you probably a lot of other stuff you didn't ask for. So there you go. So join us wherever you find your podcast. And we look forward to having you listen to us.
Yay.
So Albert began to become obsessed with the supernatural and especially flying saucers during the 1940s when a lot of sightings were happening across America and especially in the West. And in 1952, still living with his parents, started the International Flying Saucer Bureau and started to invite a bunch of different, similar-minded people and also some really famous scientists like Albert Einstein, who sadly declined his invitation to join.
I wonder why.
I wonder. You'd think it's so prestigious. So the Bureau actually got 600 members. And Bender was the president, and they were all dedicated to crowdsourcing information on alien encounters. And they started their own quarterly journal called Space Review. So this was a newsletter, told all about the UFO sightings and had all these cool theories. But right around when he started Space Review, some strange happenings began to occur. He kept falling ill. He would get strange phone calls where no one would be on the other line. And he also started to get telepathic messages telling him to stop what he was doing. So people speaking to him in his brain.
Whoa.
I think that's called schizophrenia.
This guy was really mentally ill, but he had some problems. So Albert began to say that he was being watched by an unknown group. In 1952, he was out at a movie, and he said that he saw a strange man with glowing eyes watching him, and this man followed him all the way home. And then on a different occasion, he said that he was being telepathically hypnotized in his bedroom, and these beings were levitating him off of his bed, which is a pretty weird thing to happen to you. A little exorcist-like.
That's what I'd say if I lived with my mom. She walked into my bedroom. I'd be like, no, I was being telepathically hypnotized.
Someone was controlling me with their minds.
Yeah, get out of my room, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mom's like, get a girlfriend.
That's all he needed. And his parents were also saying that an odor of sulfur was coming from his room, which I don't even know what that would come from, to be honest.
Oh, that's coming from hell. That's the demonic activity.
It's either schizophrenia or it's The Exorcist Part 2. I'm not sure which one it is.
I mean, it's a chamber of horrors, so I guess it makes sense. Brimstone. Yeah.
So he kept having all these strange
beans and
encounters.
eggs did he eat?
That's the real deal there.
Yeah.
He had a diet consisting of baked beans and hard-boiled eggs.
I
apologize for Lee. He cannot leave the fart joke alone.
I started it with saying that his hometown sounded like diarrhea, so I was happy for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's thematic.
Yeah, we got to keep the themes running. So he kept having all these creepy encounters and situations, and he decided, since he was getting telepathic messages from what he thought was maybe aliens, he should mix that in with his ufology research, or UFOlogy, as they say. So he promoted to readers in Space Review that they needed to memorize and silently recite in their mind on a particular day and time a form letter that he wrote. The goal is that they'll contact alien life via the simultaneous thought projections of hundreds of IFSB members. So on World Contact Day, or C Day, as they called it, which was March 15th, 1953, They all telepathically thought at the same time at 6 o'clock, calling occupants of interplanetary craft, ! Calling occupants of interplanetary craft that have been observing our planet Earth in all caps. I don't know why. We of IFSB wish to make contact with you. We are your friends. So everyone did that, and the Men in Black did not like it. So one night his room filled with sulfur, and he was visited by 3 men all dressed in black. He said that they looked like clergymen, but they wore hats similar to the Omberg style, which I don't actually know what that is, but the Men in Black
had demons. Like, that's literally, this dude had demons.
Yeah, this is a totally different category of supernatural activity going on.
He's just linking it to aliens.
Yeah, he's in the wrong industry.
He'd make a killing in demonology. We need to get him in contact with Ed and Lauren Warren.
For sure.
I think is a Homburg kind of like a fedora, maybe with a wider brim? I don't know. It's a hat.
Straight G-men, that would be. That's what I'm imagining in my head, at least.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. So,
it's like an unpointed fedora. I just Googled it.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, we're learning new things, you know? It's great. So Men in Black, who, according to them, always appear in threes, they showed up and they communicated telepathically saying that he had to stop publishing. Before they left, they confiscated copies of Space Review. This particular edition was supposed to have some sort of groundbreaking evidence of aliens, and they just stole everything. After they left, he was scared for days and wasn't able to eat. And he said that they continued visiting and just scaring the crap out of him for the rest of his life, essentially. So having a bad time. Later encounters, he said that they would appear and they would be floating above the floor, and that they told him their human appearance was an illusion, and that if anyone was told about this visitation, they wouldn't believe them. And then later on, they said that, no, it's not an illusion. Our forms are stolen from people we capture from Earth, and then we use those bodies to disguise ourselves.
Whoa.
So,
very
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, yeah.
Exactly.
I was going cockroach from Men in Black.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Edgar suit.
Wow.
That's probably where they got that from, man. It's
based on a true story.
This genius human. So after all these events, telepathic messages, he was getting really severe headaches, was being stalked, and his room just wouldn't stop smelling like sulfur. He had to shut down the International Flying Saucer Bureau out of fear. So, yeah, I know. It was sad. So a year and a half after starting, he had to take it down, and he left the last edition with this cryptic message. The mystery of the flying saucer is no longer a mystery. The source is already known, but any information about this is being withheld by orders from a higher source. We would like to print the full story in Space Review, but because of the nature of the information, we have been advised to the negative. We advise those engaged in saucer work to be very cautious.
Saucer work.
Saucer work. You gotta be careful with saucer work.
I thought the same thing.
It's like wet work, but flying saucer. So Albert Bender shut down his UFO research. He left Bridgeport and went to California, and 3 years later published an autobiography, which is where this story comes from. And he continued to have strange phone calls the rest of his life with no one on the other end until he tragically died at the age of 94. Well, actually, not that tragic. He lived a really long life.
Yeah, 94. I don't care how you go. It's not really tragic at that point.
He was riding, I guess, in 2016. So this was pretty recent. He passed away.
Wow. So what I like, sorry, I'm just going to step in and take my turn now.
Go for it.
What I like about this story is so it's such an entertaining read. Like he's got sulfur, which is usually associated with demons, but there is some connection in some that some of our some researchers have started saying that demons, aliens, fae folk, all this stuff are related in some way. I don't know. It's one of those ones where I'm just like, oh, okay. But maybe he just had demons. Maybe he just had schizophrenia. Maybe he had a little bit of both. Maybe, like, maybe his mom should stop boiling eggs for him. Like maybe that would cause Mom, I need more boiled eggs. No, you need to see a doctor.
Please get out of our house. You're 30 years old.
Please move out. Yeah, I agree. I think that's what makes this interesting is that it kind of bridges the gap between supernatural of the demonic or spiritual supernatural things and the alien extraterrestrial type of things. Like you were saying, a lot of researchers see all those like aliens and demons and fae as being linked, and like their place in our psyches is a very similar place. Like in the era of science, we kind of have the same impression of aliens that we would of demons if we lived 500 years in the past or something like that. And so he's kind of got it all blended together right there, which is cool.
Man, he was before his time, honestly, because I feel like in the internet age, like we were talking about the QAnon episode, they've been able to just combine every conspiracy ever made into one master theory.
Genius.
And I think that's what he was getting to. He just didn't quite nail it. But you got to bring it all in.
This has become really popular in like modern ufology circles, is to like try and link up all this paranormal stuff. So like UFOs are interdimensional, or they're time travelers, or there's it's all kinds of different explanations for it now. So
right.
What's
and
crazy?
It's linked to archaic descriptions of supernatural phenomenon.
Imagine this is great. This is what you hit on, Paul. Imagine the saucer panic of the 40s and 50s in today's age of social media.
Videos
People would lose it.
Videos would be crazy.
Oh, it would be so good.
Yeah,
it would be all over TikTok now. The kids would go crazy for it.
It would be perfect for a guy that still lives with his mom.
It would indeed.
Hey, I actually wonder how many people were reading that message at the same time. When he was trying to send that message.
Yeah,
about 600 or so. And you know what? That's crazy too, because that leads to a lot of things that people are still doing today with remote viewing and like CE5, that sort of stuff. Yeah, there you go. It's all. Nothing's new. It all goes back.
He's very interdisciplinary for sure.
Yeah. Well, and people still read that off in their heads to this day, hoping that they'll be able to contact someone on March 15th. So he started a holiday for ufologists.
What a genius script he came up with, too. Like, that is just going to stand the test of time. That's like the Gettysburg Address of trying to call aliens to the Earth.
Yeah. You know what I love, though? You know what I love? Earth!
Yeah,
all caps.
Just in all caps for no reason. I can't figure it out. Why would you do that?
Just in case the space aliens who came here from another planet didn't know where they were, Earth in all caps.
Yeah, there's a lot of planets out there, so you better be careful not to misspell it.
Well, I also thought he used interplanetary craft, but like we have interplanetary craft. Like intergalactic craft might make more sense. I just thought it was a weird phrase in there.
I thought the same thing. Like the aliens would detect that psychic wave emanating from the planet and be like, "Oh, how quaint!" They said interplanetary.
Adorable.
Well, back then Mars was still like an option. People were like, "Oh yeah, they could be from Mars."
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So
I have a really great book that was written by a NASA scientist in like 1960 about how we're going to get to Mars by 1999. Oh. And never happened, but it's a great book.
Well, I mean, robots made it.
Yeah.
That's
People
true.
Not so much.
He was drawing out the capsule for humans. He was very ambitious.
That would have been nice.
So I do have one thing to say about the spiritual side of this thought process. I have to admit, to me, what is an angel if not an extraterrestrial being?
Right.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's a great point. Whether or not it's interdimensional, I think is definitely interesting too. I mean, there likely are multiple dimensions, so maybe that's exactly what it is.
My whole when I hit that point, I was like, wait a minute, so aliens could be angels. I'm not saying that I'm an ancient alien theorist. I'm just saying it makes as much sense as
right. Oh, and the interdimensional side reminds me of the TV show Fringe.
Oh,
J.J.
yeah.
Abrams.
Oh, yeah.
They had the Men in Black in there. They were bald. They were interdimensional. It was crazy. It was great. I love that show.
Well, when you
Go
were
back and watch it. Everybody.
When you were describing the 3 Men in Black hovering over the ground, I kept going back to why can't I remember the name of it? Mulder and Scully.
Oh yeah,
an X-Files episode.
Well, yeah, and they always come in 3s. That's very spiritual. They hover above his bed. Very spiritual.
Mocking the Holy Trinity and all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, I think y'all convinced me. He was just possessed by demons. I think that's all this was.
I'm thinking it's demons.
I think it's demons.
It was a demonic possession, and just because he was kind of into UFOs, that's how the demon lied to him. Ooh.
Right. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's it.
Or maybe the demon was actually a demon from another planet, and he was just making a little trip over.
Yeah.
Lord.
Wow, we have actually dug a bigger rabbit hole for Albert Bender.
Just keep going down.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be added to the story. Next time someone will be like, oh yeah, well guess what? These guys said this was a thing, so it must have happened.
Yep.
Wow.
Dan's going to come over tomorrow, and I'm going to have skulls in my bedroom. Shrunken heads.
Shrunken heads. I like how he had fake skulls, but real shrunken heads as well. He had a line that he wouldn't cross, but real skulls was it.
He had a shrunken head plug, dude. He just didn't have a skull guy. You can't have a guy for everything.
It's good.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Oh man. Okay.
This is wow. All right, John. we've got deep on Bender.
Yeah. So
what do you got?
So the one that I researched was pretty interesting, and it weaves into kind of what we've been talking about as far as the aesthetics of the Men in Black and how this sort of 1940s, 1950s Americana government agent is who we always think of. And so I was trying to take a little twist on that, and I looked for some international Men in Black stories. And so in that process, I came up with, found out a little bit about what's called Operation Prato or Operation Plate in Brazil, which can also be loosely translated to Operation Saucer. And so this is the story of what happened in Brazil in the mid-1970s. This was during the military dictatorship of Brazil. I think it's called the Brazil Fifth Republic, something like that. And
this was post CIA coup, right?
I guess I actually don't know much about.
I think their coup was in '64. Yeah, sorry. Please continue. I'm working on an episode for that topic, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, it weaves in well into our geopolitical talks on the Real Politik podcast. But so what happened was there was a series of incidents that occurred from the late summer of 1977 into the beginning of 1978. And what it was hundreds and hundreds of people on this island in coastal Brazil. The island is called Colares, and it's kind of in northern coastal Brazil on the Atlantic Ocean. And hundreds of people on this island were seeing were having UFO sightings, basically, and most people described it in a very similar way. It was a metallic object. It was cylindrical in shape rather than actually being a saucer, even though that's how it's described in the name. And they would shoot, or they would emit pulses of light, like beams of light, very, very particularly directed towards people. And what's kind of interesting about this, before we even get into the Men in Black aspect of it, is that this is a UFO sighting that not only did people see it, but it was a series of sightings where they were actually interacting with people and interacting with witnesses, and there'd be multiple people from many different places seeing the same thing. And so what was happening is, in the evenings and in the early hours of the morning, these objects would appear. They would shoot, emit an immediate kind of laser beam that was around 10 centimeters in diameter, and they would always be aimed directly at the torso of a human being, usually somebody who's witnessing it. And so it was leaving behind these evidence of like radiation burns, or something that was roughly equivalent to a radiation burn, or like getting hit by a laser. And so it's wild. And so
that's terrifying.
People reported, I mean, it wouldn't kill anybody, or it didn't kill anybody immediately, but people reported that the beams felt hot, like a cigarette burn or something like that. People would suffer lesions and necrosis of the flesh within a few days of getting hit by these.
God, that's nasty.
Yeah, hair would not grow back on those locations. So very, very much like a laser or some sort of focused radiation. And so,
are you sure Dr. Robotnik wasn't like testing his new microwave gun?
Very, very possible. Very possible. We could really use Sonic in situations like these. But what happened is that, so this was being experienced by hundreds of people, or at least hundreds of people were reporting it. And what happened is that the military government sent in the Brazilian Air Force into the area to kind of take martial law in the town and on the island, and take control of the situation and lower the temperature, lower the hysteria that's going on around it. And so some of the people that were sent were actually doctors to evaluate the patients, or the I guess victims, or the people who were targeted by these lights. And really interestingly is that the doctors identified that the people they would either be super lethargic, or they'd be giddy, or they'd kind of be immobile. And what they did, after doing some blood testing, they realized that the people had lost a significant amount of blood with these lights. And so the nickname for the crafts that were emitting these light beams and hurting these people was Chupa Chupa, which translates directly to sucker sucker. And so basically these things were like giant vampire blood-sucking UFOs. And hundreds of people witnessed them. Dozens and dozens of people, around 100 people, were actually treated for injuries, lesions, etc. Only 2 people died subsequent to their wound, to the incidents or whatever. And the doctor who's reporting all this, her name was Walaidi Sassim. I'm probably mispronouncing that horribly. I don't speak much Portuguese, but
dude, it's tough.
She was a really young doctor at the time, was sent by the Brazilian Air Force, and she was seeing all these people, and like she was the one that discovered that most of them had lost a significant amount of blood in the immediate days after the incident, and she was compelled by her superiors within the Brazilian Air Force to basically lie about the injuries, evaluate it in different ways, say it was the cause was something different, or that people's sightings were actually hallucinations. And so, she's got all these different experiences and all these witnesses coming in and telling her what happened. She herself had a sighting and an experience with one of these cylindrical objects. And when she wanted to come out with it and report it to her superiors or to anybody else, she was heavily pressured by the military dictatorship not to reveal anything. Now, the second person I want to talk about in this is a guy named Captain Uranga Holland, who was a captain in the Brazilian Air Force, who at the time was one of the guys, effectively one of the men in black who was enforcing the government line on what was going on in this spot, trying to calm the local hysteria, pressuring people to go with more or less extraterrestrial explanations of what's going on. And anyway, he did all that. And then 20 years later, in 1997, he comes out and does a interview with a couple of UFOologists or ufologists. By the way, how is that pronounced?
I always say ufologist. Yeah, I say ufologist.
Okay.
That's the most
I say
fun way to say it.
ufologist.
Yeah.
Ufologist. I like that one. Okay, so Captain Holland was he did an interview that was, I guess with some reputable ufologists explaining what he and his men were doing and what they were trying to suppress at that time. And after that interview, he kind of did a tell-all, and then 3 months after that interview, he was found dead in his apartment. Apparently, hung himself with his own the belt from his bathrobe.
Oh, he
allegedly
got
hung himself.
Allegedly hung himself. He got Epsteined after going public with what he and his. They weren't exactly men in black, but they were, I guess, probably deputized by men in black. And so I just thought the whole situation was really interesting. The fact that it happened in the context of the Brazilian military dictatorship was interesting. And, it's something that is still pretty unexplained and also not that well known in the Anglophone parts of the world, because it's a bit hard to find information on it because most of it's in Portuguese.
Wow. Dude, that's something else. What gets me, Brazilians, they probably have some style. So, I mean, maybe they were men in military uniforms, probably not black, but, maybe they were also men in G-strings because the Brazilians invented that stuff.
It's true,
so,
right?
Props to them. So, who knows?
Yeah, the whole time, everybody was just on the beach. Every time one of these sightings happened.
Right.
Was it the sun that got them?
That's what I was going to say, is all these burns and lesions were actually just sunburn.
Oh, hey there, Count Panic. I got a question for you.
What's that, Bob?
What do you know about Mothman, the Loch Ness Monster, ghosts, demons, and things that go bump in the night?
Not much, Bob.
Well, lucky for you, we host a podcast called Bob After Dark where we talk about legends, lore, and the supernatural.
Wow, where can I find this podcast?
Wherever you find your great podcasts at.
Well, Lee has pulled up some interesting information. Lee, tell us about some of the side effects of radiation sickness that you were looking at.
So, this is specifically talking about like cancer radiation, but radiation sickness usually goes away a few weeks after radiation therapy is finished. Low blood cell counts happen because the radiation affect the blood cells inside the bone marrow.
Oh, no kidding.
Anemia and radiation, they go together like, well, two bad things.
So whether or not it was actually, these things were actually sucking the blood from people, even if it was just radiation, that still kind of explains why they had low blood cell counts.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
And I don't know, Paul. What do you think about this Chupa Chupa incident?
You know what?
Sucker.
I didn't buy it. I thought it was a little far-fetched until the guy got suicided, and then I believe it now. Oh, that's true. That's how you know a story's real, when someone gets suicided. I'm trying to think, like, why would you just blast, like, creatures with radiation, though? What would be the intention of that? Were they, like, X-raying them or something?
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. It's hard to know the intentions of extraterrestrials, as well as in the same way that it's hard to know the intentions of, like, divine or extraplanar beings.
It'd be like an ant trying to understand us, dude. Like, why are they driving in cars?
Yeah,
why are we holding a magnifying glass over an anthill?
Well,
exactly.
So, I mean, like,
yeah, that's actually some child alien just fucking with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Possible.
No, that one's definitely the most terrifying, though, I think. I think just because of the scope of people and the fact that it was under a military dictatorship where I'm sure you aren't really allowed to say crazy things. It probably didn't end up well for some folks. So.
Right, yeah, a lot of parts of the story not that surprising, like shocker, a military junta trying to control information, right?
Right.
Go figure.
They're like, yeah, this whole alien thing might upset the apple cart a bit.
But just like the idea of a mass hysteria, close encounter of the second kind incident that has real physical evidence and evidently a doctor who says it's real. I mean, and some suiciding and, all kinds of military records. And it's Brazil. Maybe the aliens were just like, hey, the people down here are more attractive, so let's go mess with them.
More attractive.
It's true.
Yeah, I wonder if the aliens get, like, special dispatches, or if they can request, like, yeah, I think I'm going to do my tour in Brazil this time, or, I'm thinking like Caribbean, Mediterranean, maybe.
It's like the military. You can't decide where you go, but you can stack rank your favorite bases, and then they'll take it under advisement. I'm really into either Florida or Brazil. If you could just, like, put me there, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's why some aliens always show up as, like, attractive Scandinavians. Oh yeah, see that? Yeah. Next thing, it's going to be Brazilians. Just wait. Now that we put this out there, the next alien encounter. Well, they looked like a really hot Brazilian model, and they wanted to have sex with me, so whatever.
I knew something was up right then.
What are you going to do when in Rome? So that's awesome. That's a good one, especially when you said international. I, in my research, came across a story about, like, Russian babushkas in black who were supposed to be telling people not to spread alien stories as their cover up. I was really hoping that was it, but
oh no.
I really wish I'd done that story now, but that's not the one I did. But Chupa Chupa was good. I'd never heard of Chupa Chupa, so that is going to be out there now, and I hope some folks look into that. That'll be a good one. My story, probably the most recent, and it involves a rock star, the military-industrial complex, and our good buddies over at the History Channel. So, yes. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, but despite the absurdity of the story, a lot of people have piled on conspiracy theories to ufology's flashiest new research organization, to the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences.
Dan, I have one thing to interject.
Go for it.
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Wait, let me get my hair spiked up just right so I can continue.
You guys can't tell because I'm not on the Skype video, but I already did that before I called in.
Standing straight up.
We got it.
I can always psychically sense where John's hair is, so I knew.
You guys are good buddies then.
So the origin stories of To the Stars Academy, or TTSA, has led some people to believe that the Men in Black may have been involved. The story goes that TTSA frontman and former Blink-182 frontman Tom DeLonge pitched the idea of a documentary to some government officials. According to DeLonge, the doc would be related to his fictional book, Secret Machines, and would help show the advanced scientific work that goes into making classified weapons systems.
Help show the advanced scientific work that goes into men.
Wow, dude. We're going to cut
Classic.
an album now. That's a demo.
Was for them.
Yeah. So, Tom pitched this idea as a way to paint the military-industrial complex in a new light to modern audiences like cynical millennials and apathetic Gen Z types, kids these days. So, despite Tom being known for some raving on UFO and paranormal topics, evidently the military brass could not resist an opportunity to look good on camera and to have their picture taken with a rock star. Tom was invited to a company event at none other than the infamous Lockheed Martin Skunk Works.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. For those who don't know, Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works is an advanced aerospace research facility, and they are the guys who came up with some great ideas like the SR-71 Blackbird, which we all know and love, especially us X-Men fans, the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter, and the U.S. Air Force's current new best toys, the F-22 Raptor and the F-35.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is the F-35 the one that can't fly in the rain, or is that a different one?
You know what? I thought I had heard something about the F-35 not flying in the rain.
Yeah,
I
one
know
of
that
them legitimately can't fly in the rain, it breaks.
So
we keep buying more.
The F-22 had problems. I remember with the oxygen systems. Guys would pass out. It was a great plane, but the pilot might die. So,
it's hard to fly if the pilot's dead.
Right, if you can't breathe, a little tough.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tom hobnobbed around the Skunk Works with employees and engineers, government officials, and military officers. Tom told them about his idea for the documentary, and evidently it got to some of the big shots at Lockheed. According to him, to Tom DeLonge, they were intrigued by his proposition and held a meeting with him a few weeks after the party. Behind multiple layers of advanced security at an office, quote, out in the middle of the desert somewhere, end quote.
I would like to speak now.
Go for it.
So have you guys ever seen the Joe Rogan episode, or heard the Joe Rogan episode where Tom DeLonge was on it?
Yes.
I didn't watch it, no.
So are you guys a G-rated podcast?
No.
We're
Okay.
PG, at least.
Oh, we're going to ruin that for a minute. Sorry, guys.
You're lying,
I like
John.
to think that particular thing went something like, "Oh fuck yeah, oh fuck yeah, oh fuck yeah, oh fuck yeah." That was literally all he said during that Joe Rogan interview. I'm just going to point that out.
Yeah.
Yes, this is part of his infamous ravings on the topics of UFOs and conspiracies, this Joe Rogan interview. So go back. Like Joe needs the viewership. Don't pitch Joe. Come on, we need it. He's got $1 million.
I'm hoping
Spotify.
if we mention Joe Rogan, we'll gain some of the.
Oh yeah, we'll get that search engine optimization.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
We're about to poach some of his followers here.
Yeah, hashtag
Right,
Joe
yeah.
Rogan.
So yeah, he had to go, he described some of these layers of security, safe type doors with combinations and biometrics, and in the hallways there were speakers pumping in white noise so you couldn't hear the conversations that other people were having. So it's all very, very cloak and dagger, right? But at this meeting, evidently the hotshots at Lockheed were not so high on Tom's idea for a documentary. They did not want to be associated with, the things that he said on Joe Rogan. So that was it. They nixed it. They don't want to be part of UFO talk. So a few things from the story can be confirmed. Tom definitely did go to Skunk Works. He definitely was pitching a documentary, and he definitely was corresponding with top people at Lockheed and in the Air Force. But then we get into the parts of the story that who knows. According to Tom, the party at Skunkworks started opening doors in the halls of power that led him to meetings with the CIA, NASA, other members of the military intelligence community. These connections started a flow of information that he called a dribble, which a dribble is what you do with a basketball. I would never describe a flow of information. Whatever. Tom's words, not mine.
I think he meant trickle.
Right.
Trickle.
Whatever.
Words are hard, okay?
Right. This dribble of information and these connections really became the basis for To the Stars Academy. Everything from their claims of advanced propulsion systems to crash debris all trickled in from multiple sources in government and the aerospace research community. And a lot of the guys you see in TTSA now, probably connections he made during this time. So, the Lou Elizondos, all those guys out there. Pretty cool. So TTSA has been in the headlines recently for their part in popularizing the leaked Tic Tac videos. Now, guys, this stuff is out there a million times, especially the story about the 2004 Nimitz encounter, and this is where we get into the Men in Black. The Nimitz carrier strike group was operating off the coast of California, and allegedly they had some radar contacts. People went out and looked at them. They thought it was a UFO in the video, blah, blah, blah. There you go. There's a lot more to it, but that's the very short version. According to some of the sailors in this carrier strike group, some unidentified officials helicoptered onto the boat. The USS Princeton, I believe, had the radar contact, the initial radar contact. And they took all the information from the Princeton, from the Nimitz, from the EC-2 Hawkeye advanced warning aircraft that they have, those electronic jamming aircraft. They have all kinds of cool stuff. They have the best toys out there in the Navy.
I want one.
Yeah. There was a submarine operating underneath them. They took information from they got it all, right? And they took it back to the halls of power, whatever secretive organization they had. This was all collected. It was all sent off by shadowy figures. I don't think they ever say in a black suit, which is actually the one missing element from the story. But the question becomes, if these shadowy figures collect all the evidence of a UFO sighting, how come all these years later we're finding out about it from a rock star? Where's the connection between the Men in Black and Blink-182?
I mean, have you heard the song Aliens Exist from Blink-182? Because that's a great one.
Boom.
I just love the idea, too, that, like, Tom DeLonge has one meeting with a corporation, and then suddenly the CIA is like, oh, you met with them? Oh, come hang out with us, and we'll tell you all of our secret shit. That's how that works.
I feel like one of two things happened. Like, either they were like, you know what, this guy's crazy enough to where if we just put this out there, we can like preemptively just allow it to get out and not have anybody take it seriously, or all of it's bullshit.
I actually think the former might be more likely. Like, I think he is most likely a controlled asset, a useful idiot, so to speak. And actually, the whole time you were describing him going through all of the security walls, there's like scenes in movies where you have to go through several gates of security where it scans your eye and you have to enter in a passcode and
get smart
like there's
style
lasers
stuff.
and shit. Yeah, and so I imagine that somewhere at Skunkworks or wherever he was, they probably just have like a hallway built out with that shit where they just walk the idiots through.
There's like a back corridor and there's like no reason.
Yeah, and there's like there's the normal entrance that everybody else uses, and then whenever they want to give somebody the impression that they're getting top secret information, just walk them right through that thing.
It's like the tour group hallway where they take everyone down.
Right.
A normal employee walks down there. He doesn't have to do anything. Someone comes out and he's like, "No, Joe, it's me. But
I work here.
And he presses a button and everything just opens up.
Oh my gosh. No. Well, I mean, Tom DeLonge, he's a rock star. He's cool. He's got to be a lot more believable than a guy who lives in his stepfather's attic.
True.
He's got authority.
That much is true.
I don't know, man. I think money makes you insane. I think the attic guy may have the most clarity of mind. Tom DeLonge seems to be
maybe that's true.
I'm still convinced he just had demons, like literal, like demons. Dude was.
Well, and it's like I had a one-on-one conversation with the head of Lockheed in this super secure facility, and then a little bit later, the CIA knew everything about it, and they called me in for a meeting on it.
And then. Is that how the intelligence community works? You meet with one person, and it's like, oh, well, he must be cool. Let's tell him everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're like, okay, well, you talk to the guys at Skunkworks. Okay, you can talk to us. Oh, you talk to the guys at the CIA. Oh, you can talk to the guys at NASA. You talk to the guys at NASA. You can talk to the guys at the Air Force. You talk to the guys at the Air Force. You talk to the guys at the Defense Intelligence Agency. Then it goes on. Now you've got everything. Now you've got the keys to the castle. This trickle of information, this dribble.
The dribble.
Yet Bill Clinton couldn't figure out anything about Area 51. I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Dude, it's insane, man. And you know what? It would make a great TV show, though.
Yes. The one interesting thing about this whole Tom DeLonge episode, and it's really like a saga. It's ongoing, but something that came to light with the WikiLeaks release of John Podesta's emails in 2016. This was John Podesta, who was the campaign manager, campaign head for Hillary Clinton. And there was a whole issue. Basically, he got phished. Somebody sent him a link, and he clicked on it in his email, and they got access to all of his email records.
Real weak security.
And super weak security. But what's interesting is that Tom DeLonge, his correspondence with Tom DeLonge was in there, and you could see, how in an email you can see all the past correspondence and everything, and Tom DeLonge the whole time is like hitting him up, trying to talk about aliens and like alien technology and working with the campaign in order to bring the truth to the population. And then the whole time, John Podesta is also talking back at him, and he's just trying to get him to like sign on to the Hillary Clinton campaign in order to like to get more popularity, or maybe be an opener at one of the rallies or something like that. and so you can tell it's really sad, honestly, but they're completely talking past each other, and the whole thing came out in WikiLeaks. It was pretty funny.
I hadn't seen that. I'm just imagining in my head where he's like, we got to find the truth. We got to tell the people. And then Job Test is like, yeah, man, that's great. But like, we're having this rally. So if you can play like a song to kick it off, that'd be great.
Yeah, you completely captured the dynamic right there.
It's what I imagined. So I'm going to be honest with everybody. I made the mistake of giving Joe Biden my email. Based off of mutual hatred for a particular other person. Anyway, now it's like every 5 minutes, it's like, hey, did you know that if you donated $5, that would really help me in, taking down this evil? And then like Kamala Harris, hey, could you donate like $5 and really help us like do this? Bill Clinton, these people are
right now. Imagine if they knew you had millions of dollars, thousands of Instagram followers. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
They should have just been like,
I gave him my phone number, and it's just like, hey, it's John Kerry. And I'm like, why is John Kerry messaging me on this? Like,
Exactly.
I didn't know he was still around.
Aren't you a senator? Don't you have something to do?
They don't have anything to do but help their friends get into office.
It's insane.
I donated to the Bernie Sanders campaign once, like 40. I guess it was the 2016 round, and I still to this day, I think they gave the email to every single possible organization they could have, because I still get updates and emails asking for money.
Guys,
to this day,
I know what you got to do. Anytime you get one of those, reply back. Tell us the truth about the aliens.
If we all did that, we know.
That's it.
Well, we have to do it all at the same time, though. Is the thing.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. So
at 6
August
o'clock in the
22nd.
evening on a day in no, it's in May. It's in May.
Oh, sorry. At 6 o'clock in the evening.
But that's not really going to work for the election cycle, May. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna make a new day, a new contact day, and it's going to be like October 15th. And we all have to text Joe Biden.
Yes.
Every single person, just emails back those political emails. Like, just responds to them all the same.
We should call it Disclosure Day. Is D-Day taken? Can we use that one?
No, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Yeah, I haven't heard of a D-Day, so yeah, I think that's good.
All right, we're set. That's it. October 15th sounds good. That's the day.
Well, it's easy to remember. I love it.
Yeah, contact your senator, your congressman, your state senator, the county coroner, everyone.
Your
everyone who has
comptroller.
a job in government. The local sheriff. Call them all up and tell them you want to find out about the aliens.
Yeah, but
One of them
I know
knows.
you know. I know you know.
Release the documents.
Some small town sheriff's like, okay, fine, you got me.
The sheriff jumps in on it. He's like, yeah, man, let's call the governor. I totally agree.
Hello, this is Michael from Pennyhaven. What is Pennyhaven, you ask? Well, Pennyhaven is my YouTube channel. On this channel, I share with the viewer some awesome coins from my collection and the new ones I pick up every week. I also have a bunch of informative videos that show you what to look for in your own pocket so you can realize the worth above face value in circulated money. I'll teach you how you can get silver coins for free or at face value. I'll even tell you how you can get a free piece of gold in the mail. Absolutely free and beautiful. So come on over, subscribe, watch my playlist of informational videos or anything that catches your eye. Send me an email to find out how to get some free gold and start getting the most out of your money. So please, go to youtube.com and search for Pennyhaven. That's Pennyhaven on YouTube.
Well, guys, we gotta think about wrapping it up a little bit, but let's just go around and give us a little MIB love. What did we get from all of these stories combined? Lee, put it all together.
So, while I'd like to imagine that the MIBs exist, and there's so many stories of this happening, part of me worries that when it started to become a thing, then it started to come out more and more. If a government entity wanted to silence people, they would probably not do it so, like, blatantly. And if aliens wanted to silence people, I guess it's a little bit more believable that they would have no idea how to, like, show up and appear as, you know, a normal human being. I just think there'd be a lot more Epsteined people. Like, I really do think that if the Men in Black show up, I think that's just time for you to be Epsteined. So
right, easier to just kill you at that point.
Yeah, if it's that confidential, why would you keep them alive?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and I hate to say it like that, and I'm kind of upset now that I've officially coined the term Epsteined for my my personal vocabulary, but it's now a thing.
Hey, welcome to our world, man. we roll deep in that shit.
But so there's where I have a really hard time. Like, if they wanted to silence people, they would eliminate them. I hate to sound conspiratorial, but they've done it before. There was literally an actual conspiracy to eliminate JFK that was admitted to. So why would they do something like that for a president and not just eliminate Joe Blow?
Yeah, forget about the paperwork. It's just like, oh yeah, this is just the guy. We're taking him out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, Men in Black, real or fake?
I'm gonna go with real. I'm in a good mood today, and I'm vibing it. I think they're out there. I think they're silencing the people. I think you can't trust the FBI. We all know that.
We knew
can't
that.
trust CIA. They're covering this stuff up, and I think that the Air Force knows about, the Navy knows about. They're seeing this stuff everywhere. So I don't know if Albert Bender's story was real. I think he needed a little bit of help at some points, either by Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famed demonologists, or a psychiatrist. But
an exorcist is what you need, really.
Maybe an exorcist. But I think that they may not come in threes, they may not float, their eyes may not glow, but I think that they're out there, shutting the people down.
Sad. John, if the Men in Black exist, are they a separate government agency, or do they work out of a different office? Like, how's this work? Like, what if a Man in Black flashed you a badge? What letters are on it?
Right. This is the perfect question, and it was the direction I was going to go. I think that the Men in Black, the place that they occupy in the public consciousness, is sort of a governmental agency or a super governmental agency. Like they're beyond the nation states of the world, and it's also telling that the kind of mythology and folklore around the Men in Black arises in the post-World War II era, where you have these giant alliances and world orders, where super governmental agencies of spies or whatever are operating. Are y'all hearing
I'm
that?
hearing some strange noise here.
Oh, I think that's because Lee turned on the air conditioner.
It wasn't bad before.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, that was the first time I heard it. It was just really loud for a second.
No,
I thought y'all were getting abducted right now.
No, that's because we were all super deep into super governmental agencies. I like it. Like the kind of like Kingsman, where it doesn't involve the government, or it's bigger than the UN.
Is something. Right, it crosses international boundaries. This is something that's at a higher level than what is explicit to the common citizenry of the world.
It was a secret order created by the Illuminati, the likes of the Knights Templar, that just exists into perpetuity by itself.
I mean, you say that jokingly, but it occupies the same place in our psyche, and it's something above. It's something kind of unknowable and supernatural in a way. It's a power that's higher than what we know of, that we have in explicit governmental powers. But going back to what kind of badge they would have, I don't know. That's a good question. I was thinking about asking this question earlier. Is like, if the Men in Black were wearing black suits and black ties in the 40s, what would they be wearing today? And I don't know. Obviously, you got to go discreet, and if you're trying to be effective, discretion is better. But I don't know. What do you guys think is the black suit of today?
Khaki shorts, Hawaiian shirt.
No, they're not Boogaloo Boys.
They're the Men in Black. Yeah, if you're liberal, it's a Boog Boy, and if you're conservative, it's like an Antifa and black gear. It's just
the black block Antifa types. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So, John, I have a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
So, are you saying that They are Men in Black International.
Oh God, you did it!
Oh wow!
You did
We
it.
brought
Yes.
it in.
Roll credits.
Yes, I'll agree to that, even though I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, I think you're all wrong. The Men in Black represent the deepest part of the deep state. That's why the office for the X-Files was in the basement.
Literally the deep state.
Right. That's as deep as it gets. Bottom floor. And yeah, they just operate now, and no one knows what they do because no one cares.
Dan, where is America's basement, by the way?
Wow.
The deepest state. The deepest state has to be Mississippi.
Dude, I live in Mississippi, and I'm telling you, it's pretty deep.
I was going to say Florida, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, basement of the gene pool, Florida, maybe. Sorry, Florida man.
And we have insulted our state for the day.
Yeah, we like doing that. But yeah, no, there's something going on, and I think it's one of those things that just nobody cares about anymore. No one's in charge of. Congress has abdicated its authority, and they're like the yin to the Illuminati yang. They're the de-Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to
the
cover it all.
Illuminati.
Yes.
I like it.
I buy it. It's the same thing with the CIA. Sometimes they silo information so hard because the more people know something, the more likely it is to get leaked. That sometimes no one actually knows what happened.
Right,
and
yeah.
The people that do left, so it's lost.
And you don't even know, they don't even know how in the budget, they still get funding. They just do. They're
right.
They're like that guy from Office Space. We don't know why they're still getting paid.
Yeah.
There was a secret line in the budget that said something really innocuous that just gets voted on over and over again. The guy who actually knew the secret died, and now it just continues.
just continue.
Into perpetuity. Because when it comes to government, one of my razors is never blame anything on malice that can be explained by incompetence.
Yes,
that is my favorite theory. It is it's a bureaucratic failure and a lack of oversight to know what's in the budget,
and that's why the Men in Black still exist, and that's why they're hooking up with Tom DeLonge now. They came they came from being really cool 40s ties, glasses, whatever, driving, Cadillacs, black Cadillacs or Lincoln Continentals or whatever, something cool. And now they're just oh, hey, there's a rock star who's been emailing John Podesta. Let's throw him a bone.
Oh my God, I know how they dress now. Oh,
it's like the Dharma Project in Lost, where they just plug their report into a suction tube and then it feeds out and it dumps into a dump. It doesn't go anywhere. There's no one to report it to, but they don't know it.
I know how they dress now.
What are they wearing?
Skinny jeans, band tees, and sad hair.
They're fanboys. They're emo hair.
That's it.
The emo swoop. Yeah.
We solved it.
They're kind of emo, like mid 2000s emo.
That is the modern MIB. So that's it. We've blown the lid off this thing, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do some plugs. If you guys want to listen to Beyond Terrestrial, it's available on all major podcatchers, beyondterrestrial.com, fourthhand.com/shows. That's FORTH. That's where you can find us. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We got a fan group. We've got all kinds of things. Real Politik. You get the last word.
Yeah, pluggables. Check us out, Real Politik, on all the major the pod players as well. That's Politik with a K at the end instead of a C. You can find us on YouTube as well, Twitter. You can email me, paul.realpolitik@gmail.com. And, hey, drop us both 5 stars on Apple while you're at it, because who doesn't love 5 stars? Makes you feel good, warm and fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, send us a screenshot, and we'll send you stickers. We got stickers. What do you guys? You guys send any thank you notes? You guys do anything nice for the people?
Yeah, we actually have stickers as well that we'll send you. It's our logo is a space monkey with a cigar, and we'll send you a nice decal with that beautiful monkey.
Yes, very cool. Better than Joe Rogan's monkey. Remember Joe Rogan? Yeah.
Totally different monkey, guys.
Completely
different
not
monkeys.
a ripoff. Assholes. All right, screw that guy. All right.
I've actually never listened to him. I might be the only person on earth. I didn't know that there was a monkey that had anything to do with him.
Just tell people you have a podcast. They'll be like, "Do you listen to Joe Rogan?" No.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, here we go. Men in Black shitting on Joe Rogan. You've heard it all right here at the Beyond Politik Roundtable on the Men in Black. Thank you.
Please clap.
Applause.
Well, that was a great conversation with the guys from Real Politik. And I enjoyed every minute of that conversation. Those guys are knowledgeable. They come into things prepared, much unlike myself and my co-host. I didn't know where the fuck I was going.
Case in point. You had the White Claw on the brain.
Oh, man.
It was just No, dude, they were awesome to work with. I loved it. They were very professional, and I hope we can do another show. I would love to do another show with those guys, so we'll try and work with them again in the future. Season 4, maybe around the end of this season. Who knows? We'll see.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, Dan, I think we've got one more contributor to this podcast that we haven't yet mentioned. And Dan, I think you know who I'm talking about. He's one of our OGs. His name is Michael. Michael Roop.
Yes. Special thanks to Mike Roop for putting that round table together in post-production. Mike is one of the founding fathers of Beyond Terrestrial, and he hooked us up with Simple Equations Media in Las Vegas. Simple Equations Media is a full-service audio and video production company based out of Las Vegas. They've got your back, everything from pre-production through shooting, through post. They are doing work at like movie and TV quality. So for them to hook us up is a really big deal. I mean, they can make us sound good. They can make you guys sound good. Whether you're a band trying to shoot a music video, maybe your company needs a high quality training video done. Maybe you are trying to get into the movie biz. This is your shot, guys. These guys will have your back. Very creative, very knowledgeable. And they've really helped us out a ton. Our show sounds way better. Music, video, they do it all. They're really great guys over there. If you want to see what they do, check them out online. Google it. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Twitter at simpleequation_. And you know, if you really want to, or maybe you're in Las Vegas living it up in Sin City, drop them a line, give them a call, go consult with them in person. But of course, give them a call, a heads up first, because, you know, the Rona's still out there. So yeah, just let them know you're going to drop by and go tell them what your project is. And yeah, go for it.
It's been real. It's been fun. But Mike, why don't you roll that funky music and give us an outro?
I'm going to do the Men in Black dance while it goes. Here we go. Funky. Boom. Woo. Big Willie style. That's not true. My wife will tell you that.
Dan.
Thank you for listening to Beyond Terrestrial. All three of y'all. If you're still a fan of this show, follow Beyond Terrestrial on social media and join the Beyonders Facebook group for even more strangeness. Links to everything, including previous episodes, are available at beyondterrestrial.com. That's the place to go for stickers, merch, show swag, and our Patreon. Patrons get exclusive access to ad-free shows, giveaways, and the unedited after-show show. Anything you give to the show goes straight to Funkmaster B's bachelor pad, which for now is also where these jive turkeys record this show. This show was edited by Simple Equations Media with music by Mike Root. Dan and Lee will be back next Tuesday with more from Beyond Terrestrial.